Good afternoon, Rich Nass, Executive Vice President with Open Systems Media, here for an embedded tutorial. You're in for a treat with this one. We have a special guest, as you'll see in a minute. The session is called 101, A Beginner's Guide to Successful Deployments Using Windows IoT OS. And our speaker is Ken Marlin. You probably know him as the Windows champ. He is actually with Arrow, but his official title is the Microsoft Supplier Alliance Manager. How you doing, Ken?
Doing great. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. So just a quick overview. What will people learn from this tutorial?
Yeah, the goal here is to kind of give someone who's just starting out, who wants to build an appliance and doesn't know where to begin. So this is kind of a 101 beginner's ideal of how to successfully launch an IoT appliance. And so I'm going to take them through the process. And this is a very common question that we get almost daily at Arrow is, well, what do I do? How do I get started? So this is the point of making this video. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for taking the time. Again, 101, A Beginner's Guide to Successful Deployments Using Windows IoT OS. And we will jump right into it. From the agenda perspective, again, going to take you through getting started, planning out your OEM appliance, choosing the proper operating system. We'll talk about what is IoT and why would you want to use it. A little bit of product overview. There is a legal agreement involved. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then you get right into getting the product with the media and the key. So you can start testing and then later you'll purchase the licenses, apply them to the device, and then sell and ship it and support it. So we'll go through those steps and take you through what you need to know to get started with an IoT appliance. So what I wanted to do is kind of give a fictional OEM example. So an example of what happens here at Arrow almost daily, which is where a new OEM comes in and they may be an old OEM, but they have a new project, or they may be a first-time OEM and they've come up with this grand ideal that they want to build an appliance and sell it into the market. In this case, Champ Computers, they're wanting to build an appliance that you would put in your garage that would track the maintenance of your car. Now, in this program, it supports all kinds of appliances, which we'll talk about. But for this scenario, as an example, they want to build an appliance that they want to sell to customers to put into their garages that could track the car maintenance. And they want to know, where do I start? What do I do? What's the plan? So let's jump into that and see how it goes through the steps. The most important thing to do is to plan. Take the time to sit down and plan out not only your operating system, but your hardware. So a lot of times we run into OEMs who just run out and they just buy a computer system that's already configured, that may come already with Windows 10 Pro. And then they find out a few months later that the hardware that they've purchased is already obsolete. And that the Windows 10 Pro build that is on the system is also already out of date and out of support. And then they rush around trying to figure out how to, get the Windows updated, and then and where to source newer hardware and those kind of things. And you can avoid all that simply by taking the time to plan out your hardware and your software. And the Windows IoT has a much longer life cycle, which we'll talk about, and that'll give you plenty of time for your appliance to stay on the market for a much longer time and make your life much easier, so you're not running around trying to source hardware and find the right software. So take the time to plan. Starting back with choosing the operating system. So in this slide, we'll talk about choosing the correct operating system. And on the left, we have the Windows Pro version, which is for general purpose computers. And on the right, we have the Windows IoT Enterprise LTSC version, which is for dedicated appliances. As you start to spec out the operating system, ask yourself, am I building a general purpose computer where the end user can do whatever they want with it? Or am I building an appliance? In this scenario, the OEM is building an appliance that would go into a garage. And so it's easy to know that we would choose the IoT version. The number one competitor to the IoT version is Windows Pro, simply because it comes pre-installed on a lot of computers. And many customers think it's easier to just buy it with it already on there. Not really, that it comes with far less support, very short life cycle, very short support cycle. It has less features, and in many cases, it can be more expensive and more problematic dealing with multiple keys and activation. If you're building an IoT appliance, you absolutely want to be using the one on the right, the IoT Enterprise LTSC, giving you 10 years of support, 10 years of life, far more features that give you control over Windows updates and the ability to lock the system down and control it. And then lastly, I'll mention down in the bottom, we have a brand new Arrow operating system chooser tool, which if you visit that website, it'll ask you questions and it will steer you toward not only if you're building an appliance, the IoT version, but it will actually help you choose which IoT version, which we will cover here in a few more minutes. Let's go to the next slide, which we'll talk about what is the Microsoft IoT channel and why use it. And in the big picture here, we have a person that's using a kiosk in a mall for directions, and that is of a dedicated so that the user cannot interact with the Windows desktop or go in and change things. And we certainly don't want that to be getting a Windows update during the middle of the day. You want it to show the mall map and nothing else. And that is a perfect example of an OEM appliance that is perfect for Windows IoT. I have some other examples in the lower part of the slide, which shows you many different industry verticals: medical, gaming, digital signage, industrial controllers, and far more than what are just shown there. But again, long life, long support, a value-based pricing, which gives you better pricing, and again, the ability to lock it down and control that appliance. Let's talk about the end of life and end of support. So as you plan your OEM appliance, you absolutely want to know how long will that Windows product be available and how long will it be supported. And if you end up going with the Windows Pro, know that it has a very short life and a very short support cycle, where the IoT has a very long one. Many customers get end of life and end of support mixed up. That's why we like to call it out and let you know that end of support is when there's no more tech support, no more security patches, no more hot fixes. And then end of life is when the product is not manufactured any longer. So you cannot no longer sell or ship that product or buy it because it's not available anymore. The important thing to know is at the very bottom in the green is that the IoT licenses are good forever, but the support and the life of the product will end. However, any systems that you've shipped with the product, you can let those run forever, but just know that the support will stop at a certain point, and the life, being able to buy more product for newer products, will end. But the product, good forever. Let's look at the roadmap again as we plan out the OEM appliance. The LTSC version actually has 4 flavors currently. The 5th one is the Windows 11 IoT LTSC, which is not available yet. So the one there on the bottom is expected to not be available till probably the end of 2023, at least 2 or 3 more years before an LTSC version of Windows 11 will be available. That means today, most of our customers are going with the brand new LTSC 2021, the Windows 10 product, and they're staying with the Windows 10 product until Windows 11 becomes more reliable and they actually release an LTSC version giving you that long 10 years of support. So today, if you're building a brand new appliance, you're more than likely going to go with the LTSC 2021. We still have many customers using the LTSC 2019 version there. And you can see the dates. Again, very important to keep those dates in mind so that you know how long your product will be available. So the top 3 products, and then we've kind of mentioned them all up to this point. And our little OS chooser that I mentioned will help you steer you to the right one. But ultimately, you can see the highlighted one in the middle is probably the top choice these days. And the reason for that is it's an LTSC version, so it's going to give you 10 years of life, and then it has the most available new features. So as you look at the older 2019 on the left, in the lower part of the chart, you'll see many of the new features are not available in that older edition. That product's getting to be about 4 years old now. The 2021 product in the middle, it just came out in November of 2021. It's available now, and it has a lot of new features with some other features coming soon, probably in the next month or so. Microsoft will be updating the reduced footprint and the dual application focus feature. And then on the far right, we have the Windows 11 IoT Enterprise. So there is a Windows 11 IoT product, but it is not an LTSC version. So it only gets 3 years of support. And it requires the secure boot and the TPM module. So it requires some additional hardware stuff to run Windows 11. And many of our OEMs are not ready for that just yet, but they will be ready when the LTSC version comes out in a few years. So let's look at how the Windows IoT products are licensed and also how they're priced. So you've decided on the Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021 product, and that's the parts in the lower part of the screen there. I did add the Windows 11 parts on here just for reference, but you have to license the product based on the processor of your device. Now, what that does is it allows you to go with a lower performing processor would allow you to buy a lower cost license. And we can't put the prices on here because they're considered NDA, but you can certainly reach out to Arrow and we can give you a quote. But if you're building an Intel Atom or a some Celeron, it's the entry version license. If you're building a Core i3, Core i5, it's in the middle, they call it value. And then there is the high end, which is your Core i7, Core i9, Xeon. And there is a chart that covers all of these processors, including AMD versions as well. And there's recently a new edition of the ARM processors with NXP and Qualcomm on the chart as well. So what you would do then is come to Arrow and buy the appropriate license based on the processor of your system. And we'll talk about the stickers here in a minute. But you place your order, we ship you the COA stickers and you apply them to the device. That will also help determine the hardware. So if you want to save money on your overall cost of your appliance, if you can run on a lower performing processor, you will lower the cost of the Windows licensing. So you've made all the decisions, you've got your hardware picked out, you've got your operating system picked out. Now what do I do next? And ultimately, there is a link here at the bottom of this slide where we actually have an Arrow checklist that allows you to print off the checklist and just know that here are all the things I need to do. Here are all these steps and links to how to get them done. But ultimately, you're going to sign the agreement. You're going to obtain the software. You're going to request a key. You're going to start testing. And then when you're ready, you're going to purchase the COA sticker licenses to put on each device. Then you'll sell and ship them. A little YouTube channel with a YouTube video here that I'm calling out that actually will walk you through this entire process. And I think it's like a 3-minute video. Yeah, 3 minutes and 19 seconds, actually. So in 3 minutes, my video will walk you through these steps and get you going immediately. So check out the YouTube channel, check out that video. So step one is that agreement. It's called a customer license agreement. And as we started in the upper left of the presentation here, it is signed electronically. There's no cost and no minimum purchase. You gain access to all the media and keys for testing. You gain access to the ability to buy and sell the IoT licenses. And you agree to build, market, and sell and support a dedicated appliance. So you're saying, hey, I'm only going to use these products on appliances, not on general purpose computers. And the one agreement covers all of these products. So the logos on the right are not all of the products by any means, but because the products have 10 to 15 years of life, you'll see lots of older products on here because they're still available. And we have OEMs that are still shipping appliances on very old products because that's the point of the program, giving you a very long life cycle. And there is a link here to apply for a CLA. So again, it takes you to a little form that would send me your details and we can start that agreement process for you. Next up, after Microsoft approves the agreement, you can then gain access to the software order center where you'll go out there and download the software and you'll have access to all of those products. So whatever product you want to start testing with, you'll access it through the Microsoft Software Order Center. And I also have a YouTube video link there that explains how you request access and how you download the media from that website. So next up is the product keys and the COA license stickers. So first of all, most people believe that the product key is the license, and it's not. It's the sticker. So the product key is just used to enable the Windows operating system. The sticker that you buy is the actual license. For internal testing, you don't need as many systems as you want internally on company premises without buying a COA sticker license. But when you're ready for production, you're going to need to come back to Arrow and buy a sticker license. So, but to get that key, there's this form that you're going to fill out, and we'll help you with that. And we'll give you the form, and you fill it out, and you put a little check mark next to whatever product you want a key, and you email it to Microsoft. They email you back a single key that's good for thousands of activations that you would then put into your gold image. And then every system that you load, you just use that same key over and over. There are two types of COA stickers. They're called EPKEA is the green one there, the little small one. 98% of our customers use that because it's a single key. There's no key on the COA itself. You just put the key in your image, and then you buy the tiny little sticker and put it on the device. But you do have access to what they call the Ruby COA, which is a much larger sticker. Unique key on every sticker, which means that every time you put a sticker on the box, you'll have to scrape off the little lottery ticket thing so you can see the whole key and then type in the key. Some customers like having a key on every device. Most of our customers do not. They love the simplicity of a single key in their image, buying a tiny sticker. So while you're doing all of the testing and getting ready for production, you would also work with our Arrow sales team so that we can set up an account with Arrow so that when you're ready to buy the licenses, everything's ready to go. Our sales teams will help you fill out the credit applications and the forms to set up an account with Arrow. And sometimes customers have an account already with Arrow. We can find that out as well. And then our sales team can actually give you a quote and lead times on the product that you need. So next up is building the actual IoT image. And if you're an OEM that's only going to build 5 or 25 a year, you may not want to use all of these complicated tools. You may just want to take the operating system and load it, and do a few of the customization things. But if you're going to be loading hundreds of systems, you're going to want to spend some time to learn some of these tools that you mass produce your image. It'll help you create a custom image and duplicate it to hundreds of computers. And so we have a link there, and I also have another slide. I'll cover this with additional links on how to customize and lock the system down. Next up, Microsoft has a new tool. They call it the Microsoft Windows Edge Device Image Builder tool. And this brand new tool, they've been working on it for a little over a year now. And it's a very good tool that we've been asking for that allows you to set up a test PC, put all of your software, the OS, the language packs, the security files, any of your applications, and you can go in. It's wizard driven, allows you to customize a complete image and then build and deploy that image to multiple computers. Right now, it's still in public preview, so it's not for production use, but you can go ahead and go out and download it and start playing with it today. I expect that it'll be moving to production use fairly soon, so it doesn't hurt to start practicing and playing with it now. In the upper right, and then I recently wrote a blog, which is very helpful to get you started with your test computer. I explain where you put stuff and where you download the different things. And I also have a YouTube video on this product that should be on my channel very soon, because I recently shot it, and I'll be publishing a video on the YouTube channel on how to set up that test computer and use this new tool. So check those things out. I think you'll be impressed by that new tool. That new tool will also help you with all of these things, which is your customizing, locking it down, sysprepping, and then image replication. This is where things for some OEMs get very difficult. If you don't have a super smart engineer or technician, things can get tricky here. But you're not required to use all of these things to a certain extent. They're kind of tools that are here to help you, but for the licensing terms, you're not required to use all of these things. And in a situation where you might be doing a low volume number of systems, you may not want to just spend the time to learn all of these tools. But if you're building hundreds of systems, you absolutely want to learn these tools and use them, because they'll help you through dealing with hundreds of systems. Next up is applying the COA to the device itself. So you've got the appliance built, you've got it loaded, you've got it customized and locked down. The last step is to apply that COA sticker. And you always want to make the sticker the last step, because if you put the sticker on before, you might find out that the computer is DOA or it's bad, and now you've already applied a sticker to it. So don't make that mistake. Save the sticker license for the last step. And this new, what they call Jade sticker, which is the green one, it's a little tricky in how they want you to put it on. So the proper method is in the upper part. They don't want you touching your fingers to the back of the sticker, because some of the piracy deterrent material will actually come off on your finger, and it'll make the sticker look like it's damaged. So use the proper method. Don't touch it with your finger. And then the big question is, customers ask me, well, where am I supposed to stick this? Well, because Microsoft doesn't know what kind of appliance you have, they can't tell you technically where to stick it. But what I've done is I've put actually from the CLA agreement, this is now what they state. So if it's a laptop or a mobile device, they want you to put it to the bottom of the system under the battery type of situation. And then for desktops, any location except for the front. So they don't want you putting it right on the front of the device. They want it typically hidden on the back or on the side. And outside of that, otherwise you can put it anywhere you want, as long as it's accessible. Some customers, can I put it on the inside? Well, if you do that, most people won't know it's in there, and they won't know the device is licensed. And it is the license. So you probably, you absolutely want to make it visible so they know your device is licensed. So we're down to the last step, which is sell, ship, and support. And so now that you've got the device built and the license applied, you're ready now to sell it and ship it. And the last part of the agreement is that you need to be the first level of support, which means if it breaks or there's an issue, the end user needs to call you as the OEM, not Microsoft. So that you are agreeing to be the first level of support. Now, if it's something that you can't understand or figure out what's going on, you have Arrow as a second level of support. So you have myself, you can call Arrow, call myself. We can help figure out what that issue is. And then if it's something that we can't help with, we can actually call Microsoft on your behalf and figure out what that problem is. But that's the chain of support. You're first, Arrow second, and Microsoft would be the third level of support. So with that, a couple of references to our Arrow Microsoft website, which we have tons of great material on there. The checklist that I talk about, we have the new parts list, we have roadmaps, we have licensing guides. So if you want to dig into more licensing, we have the FAQs, which are the top questions customers ask. You can visit that website. I have a link there to the resources page. That brand new blog that I mentioned on the image builder wizard tool, that blog will be out there as well as other blogs that can help you. So check out those websites. We also have a what's new on that website, where we're trying to put the latest news and the latest things from Microsoft there on the what's new tab, the blogs that I just mentioned, and then lastly, my YouTube channel. So definitely looking for people to go hit the subscribe, trying to release a new video every week moving forward. So appreciate anyone that would go hit the subscribe and get notified. So when you see my new videos come out, that'd be great. And with that, thank you so much for watching this. You can always contact me, ken.marlin@arrow.com. Again, thank you guys for watching.